The name is associated with a chap called Dr. Guillotine, who was a member of the original National Assembly, a humanitarian, seeking out a means to deal with the fact that they couldn't agree to abolish the death penalty in these early years of the revolution. They agreed that there shouldn't be sort of gruesome punishments, fatal punishments inflicted on people, of which there were many. They agreed that everyone should suffer the same penalty, because in the old days, nobles were allowed to have their heads cut off cleanly, and everyone else had to be very slowly hanged or whatever. Robespierre was one of the few people who spoke out for actually abolishing the death penalty, but didn't get very far. So if they're going to have a death penalty, they want it to be uniform and humane. And so you get this idea that you can do this with a machine. This is a very 18th century idea. You just have a mechanism that does it. It's really the execution of the king, using the guillotine in front of a huge crowd, which really cements its position in the imagination, that the guillotine is the thing which has beheaded the king, which makes it a republican symbol in a sense. The guillotine, which is actually not a very large object. It's only about 6 feet high. The blade doesn't fall very far. It starts to be seen imaginatively as something bigger than that. And you get caricatures and cartoons where the frame just sort of disappears into the sky. Again, sort of the idea that the blade is falling as if falling from heaven. There's a kind of sort of gruesome or quasi-religious aspect to it. And the idea of it being something into which you can sort of push people, feed them, appeals to a certain sort of vindictive quality, again, particularly amongst the leaders of the popular movement, who are very good at saying what they think ordinary people would say, and they think ordinary people are quite bloodthirsty. So they come out in journalism and things with lots of very bloodthirsty pronouncements about how important it is to chop people's heads off on a regular basis. It becomes associated during the Terror with the idea of it being something that can travel around, that there'd be what they call guillotine ambulant, almost like a walking guillotine, literally, but a guillotine that can be carted around from place to place, and when it arrives and it's set up, again, you feed people into it and they come out the other end dead, and that's a local situation dealt with. It is understood as a kind of machine of death that is very evocative in a context where people genuinely believe that if you don't execute these enemies, they will execute you sooner or later.